we'll talk on how to insert tables. So I'll simply mark this as the end of the page. Remember, it's not going to insert a page, it's only going to mark this as the end of the page, and it moves me to the next page. Page break, it moves me to a new page, and this is page number 3. So how to insert a page, not a page, sorry, how to insert table. So in the insert menu, we're still on the same menu. In the insert menu, you have the tables icon. Simply click on the tables icon. Now in the first procedure, we'll be using these cells. So these cells, so we have rows and columns here. And if you're very keen, at the top left, for instance, you'll see 6 by 5 tables. If I move it to my right, you'll see 8 by 5 tables. If I move it down, it's 8 by 7. So this tells you the number of columns and the number of rows that you want, or maybe the number of columns and number of rows that are going to be inserted when you click on the last box. And remember, it covers then all the boxes or all the cells that your mouse covers. Those are the cells that you're going to have in the table. So I'll simply click on the last, which is 10 by 8. So there we go, we have the first table inserted. Let me just undo and mention something. Now you'll note in this page we don't have a table. In the menu bar, in this tab, we only have home, insert, design, layout, reference, mailings, review, and view. But automatically when I insert a table, it's going to add several other menus here in relation to the table that I've inserted. So I'll simply move to tables, click on the last cell, then there we go, we have the design menu or the design tab and the layout tab or the layout menu. So that is the first procedure of inserting a table. So in this case, we have the first column, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and the 10th column, and we have row number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hence the number that we were getting here. Remember, it was 10 by 8. Now I'll simply delete this. If you want to select a table, use this move tool at the top left. Simply click on it, then you backspace. On the same icon, we have procedure number 2 of inserting a table. So simply move to insert table. So you click on the table. We have the option insert table, so simply click on it. Now in this case, remember, you only use this if you're sure of the number of columns or the number of rows that you want in your table. So for instance, if I want 4 columns and I want maybe like 10 rows, you can simply use the arrow, or you can also type, it doesn't matter, and then you click on OK. There we go, we'll have 4 columns. And how many rows do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 rows. I'll do the same. Simply click on the move tool in the table, then backspace, or you alternatively in the layout menu, simply click on delete and choose we are deleting that table. Move back to insert. The third procedure of inserting a table is drawing the table. So we use the draw tool. So you simply click on draw table, then automatically your pointer uh, turns to handwriting pointer. So it's not the normal select, it looks like a pen. So first of all, if you want to draw a table, we're going to draw the outline. So this is like a rectangle. So you simply click as you hold and drag. So we have the imaginary line showing you how the outline is going to appear. So you release, and there we go, that's the outline. If you want to draw the columns, move your pointer to that line, click as you hold, drag down, there we go, do the same. And if you have an error, simply undo. So make sure it's from the line, click as you hold and you drag like that from the line, there you go, like that, and you can add as many columns as you want. You can also add rows, so you simply click as you hold, drag to the end, do the same thing, click as you hold, drag to the end, click as you hold, drag to the end, click as you hold and drag to the end. So in this we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 columns, and you have 1 2 3 4 5 rows. So that's how you insert a table. I'll delete this table and uh, show you another procedure of inserting a table. So in the insert menu, simply click on the tables icon. Then we have quick tables. So under quick tables, you simply choose an inbuilt design of a table that you want to insert, and you'll simply make changes to the table. For instance, if I want to insert this, simply click on it, and there we go. We have this table, and you can edit the table as you want. Simply click and edit. So that is how you insert a table. Now, if you have a table inserted, make sure to try that after. So if you have a table inserted, so let's say in the first column we have number, in the second we have maths, English, Swahili, science, social studies. So this 1 2 3 4 5 slash CRE. There we go, and we have totals. Total we have that. So I've inserted a table, and I have more columns. So how do you go about it? How do you delete a column? So we have different procedures uh, that you can use to delete a column. So we'll start with the last column, or it doesn't matter, you can use or you can delete any column. So simply highlight the first procedure, highlight this column. So remember how I'm highlighting, I'm moving my pointer. It gives you that pointer, it turns to that pointer, and simply click. If you don't want to use that, you can also move your pointer to the cell, the first cell, click as you hold and drag down. After you do that, simply right click, move to delete columns. It's going to delete that column. Let me undo. Highlight, right click, move to delete columns. It's going to delete that column. Procedure number 2, highlight the column, move to the layout menu. Then we have uh, rows and columns category. So we have delete. So remember to choose delete columns. We are deleting this column. So choose delete column. Procedure number 3, simply highlight the column and backspace in your keyboard. Please note, you simply highlight the column and then you backspace. So when you backspace, it deletes that column. And lastly, I'll use the this tool, table eraser. Simply click on the eraser and then highlight the column to delete. So that's how you delete column. If you want to delete a row, the same procedure. So I'll simply right click, then move to delete. Remember, if I don't select, it doesn't give me that option to delete the column. So if I select this row, highlight, then right click, it gives me the option delete rows. But if I don't, then I right click, move to, so remember you have to choose delete cells, and then you decide what do you want to delete. I want to delete the entire row. Click on OK, it's going to delete that row. Number 2, you can also highlight, then in the layout menu under delete, choose delete row. Number 3, you can also highlight, remember to backspace and choose entire row. Now we have number, maths, so we have the 5 subjects and you have total. So remember, I don't have the names of these students or these pupils. So how do we insert a row or a column? So simply right click. So remember, my cursor or my pointer is in the second column. So in any cell, right click, then I move to insert. Then here we have options. So we have 2 options under columns and you have 2 options under rows. So if I want to insert a column in between number and maths, I'm going to insert from the cursor where I have my cursor here. So I want to insert to the left. Remember to insert to the left, not the right, the left. So you move to insert. So column to the left, it's going to insert a column to the left. In any case, if I choose insert to the right, you'll see what happens. Insert to the right is going to insert the column to the right. So remember, if you want it to be between number and the first subject, simply right click, move to insert, and to the left of the cursor, and there we go. So I can add name. Same thing. So I'll just insert that very fast. Same thing here. So let's say I have 3 names. I'll simply key in. I have 4 names and I need to add more names. So how do you insert a row? The same thing, right click, move to insert. So with the row, it's either above or below. So if I want it to be below the 4th uh, student, simply choose insert below. It's going to insert row number 5. Or you can also use the layout menu. Then we have rows and columns. So what do you want to insert? Insert below. Remember, rows are inserted below. So if you choose that, it's going to insert that. If you click again, if you want to insert above, it's going to insert a row above. So that is how you insert a row above. And lastly, you can also use this. So in the last cell, simply press the tab key. It's going to insert row number 11. So the reason why I'm saying row number 11 is because we also have another row, the row that contains this title. So that is row number 1, and then we have 1 to 10. So that is row number 11. Now I want to insert a row above this. So you simply remember, you right click, move to insert, or you can also use insert above. Remember, your cursor should be in that row. So I want to insert above. So insert above, there we go. So if I want to give it a title, so I need to merge these cells. So if you want to merge these cells, we have different procedures of merging. Number 1, simply highlight, right click, then move to merge cells. So you'll note all these cells, they become 1. So we only have 1 cell. If I undo, you'll note we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Procedure number 2, you can also highlight these cells, then move to the layout menu. Under merge category, we have merge cells. So you simply click on that, it's going to merge the cells. If I undo procedure number 3, you can also use the eraser tool in the layout menu. Simply click on the eraser. So if I don't want to do away with this line, simply click on the line, and this line, and this line, and this line, and this line. So that is how you merge cells. Now please get the difference between merging and splitting. So if you're merging, you're making 2 or more cells to be 1. But if you're splitting, you're making 1 cell to be more. You can add columns or rows to 1 cell. So for instance, if I move to cell, so like the first, so this cell, so this active cell, and I want to split. So we have 2 procedures. You can right click, move to split cell, or you can also uh, click on the cell, move to split cell under layout menu in the merge category, or you can also use the draw table to increase the number of columns. So using the first procedure, simply right click, move to split cell. So it's going to ask you how many columns and how many rows do you want to be created in the cell. So for instance, if I want 3 columns and I want 2 rows, simply click on it. You'll note this cell now has 1, 2, 3 columns, and we have 1, 2, 1, the first and the second row. If I undo, I'll also do the same using a different procedure. So in the layout menu, we have split cells. Simply click on split cell, do the same thing, 4 columns, and I want 3 rows. You'll have the same thing. On the same, you can also use draw tool. So how many columns or how many rows do you want here? Click on draw. Your pointer changes to the handwriting. Simply draw the line. Make sure it's a straight line. There we go. You can also draw another line there. So just make sure it is a straight line. There, there. Let me use this. can also draw this line there. So you're splitting the number of rows that you want. I can also add that, and remember it should be perfect for it to allow you. You can also add this, and I can also add that. I should be able to add that. So there we go. So we have 1 2 3, the third column, and we also have 3 rows. So 3 columns, 3 rows. So that is how you split cells. Now apart from doing that, inserting and deleting columns and rows, splitting and merging, we can also format this table. So in the design menu, we have the table styles category. So here we have default styles that you can use. So you simply make sure your cursor is in the table, click on the arrow with the name more, then choose from here the styles. So you can choose any style that you want, and it's going to be applied. So there we go. If you choose that, you'll have that style. Alternatively, you can also choose to format these using your own colors. So simply highlight the cells, move to shading, choose the color that you want. Maybe if I want to fill a color here, the same thing, choose a different color. Maybe if I want a color here, do the same. If I want different colors here, you can also do that like that. So you can also format that using uh, the shading, uh, not only using the table styles which is inbuilt, you can also use the shading to edit the content of your table. So I'll simply undo very fast, then I'm going to merge this. So merge cells, then I'll give it, so to the center I'll increase the size. Let's say this is KC SE 2020. So I'll use the same name just because of time there. Then with the scores, I'll key in very fast. So I'll only key in for two rows or 2 students, so that I show you on how to calculate. So remember, in MS Word you can also calculate. So in the same menu, layout menu, and you're asked to calculate the total for Moses 1. So let me just add that so that we have Moses 2. So you are asked to calculate the total score for Moses. So you simply make sure that your cursor is in the cell where you want your answer or the total mark. So remember, it should be here. Then in the layout menu, under the last category, which is the data category, you have the option formula. Simply click on formula. Then under formulas, we want to sum, but from where our cursor was, the content that we are summing is in the left. This is to your left. So we'll have equal sign sum, then the direction should be left. Then you simply click on OK. You do the same here. Make sure your cursor is here. Come to formulas. Now, please note, now we have above, so you have to make sure to change this to left. So equal sign, we are summing left. So sum left, and then you click on OK, and there we go. So we have the total score for all this. I can also add the last row. I'm going to merge this, and it should be calculating the average. So let's say if I copy this, paste them here, copy these, paste them here and here. I'll also copy these, paste them here. Just a minute. Copy this, paste it here, and I'll add this very fast there. So if I'm asked to compute this formula, remember it's sum left, I'll highlight so that I move very fast. Move to the next one, simply paste that just very fast. So I'm only pasting the formula. It's some left, some left, some left, some left, some left, some left. Now, if you have to compute the average per class, so remember the content you want to compute the average for are all above. So you move to the same formulas, but now the function changes. It's equal sign average above. So I'll simply copy that. There we go. So I'll do the same here. So it's equal sign average above, same thing here. Equal sign average above, same thing here. Equal sign average above, same thing here. Equal sign average above, and lastly the average for the class using totals equal sign average. So that is how you compute the totals and also the average. Remember the structure for this formula is equal sign, then the function, then inside you give the direction. Inside the bracket give the direction, and then make sure to close the bracket. So that is this is what we use as the function. This is what we use as the function. Now before I forget, now resizing, how do you resize a row or a column? So we have different procedures. That you can use to resize a row and a column. So first of all talk about how you resize a column using the ruler. So remember, we'll be using the ruler. If the ruler is not active, this way we have the ruler. If the ruler is not active, simply move to view, as I had mentioned in the previous video. Move to view, click on ruler. If it is not there, simply select, it's going to appear. Now if you want to resize this column, simply move your pointer there. Remember, we have these borders for this column, so at the end of this, simply click as you hold, and you note it's going to resize the column. Same thing to the row, you can also do that. So thank you, and make sure to subscribe, and see you in the next lesson.